This shouldn't be possible. Do you think the Inquisitor's mark is keeping us alive?
You don't even know, do you? You just wiggle your fingers and boom. Rift closes. Perhaps the mayor knows. Always with the questions. What will people say? Frightening thought. A divine with enough spies to know how often you piss. Do you feel that? My magic sensing nose is tingling. This is where the retainer is supposed to be. I'm getting slaughtered over here! Ha ha! I could do this all day! We lost our warden! Varric! Warden! By joining the Grey Wardens. You can't think of something less lethal. Fascinating. How does that work exactly? We could throw the Inquisition's banner over the battlements. The villagers may not even object. I hope it doesn't bother you to travel alongside a Vint, Iron Bull. I must admit, Cassandra, I've never heard of these seekers of truth. You're not possessing a human body, Cole. You actually look like that. Solus, I take it you study spirits. Indulge me, Sarah. What do you think of when I say demon? What's a Desher from the Merchants Guild doing in the middle of a battle against ancient evils? Official mage to the Orlesian Imperial Court. That sounds exciting. A Grey Warden recruiter. That sounds interesting. What's on your mind? What's to come, I wonder? My guess, a plague of bees. The Templars look none too friendly themselves. We here for a drink? Not that I mind, really. It just seems an odd stop. Sarah! The Inquisitor is down! Cassandra is hurt! Help the Inquisitor! It shall be done.
Video by Selfie Gaming. Subscribe, like, and follow.
You catch on quick. Finally, this place is presentable. What now? I've since heard your order could have prevented it, but instead led the Templars into war once it started. The veil's thin here. Demons seeping into every corpse and tree they can. How much will do they have? They're amorphous constructs of the Fade. I can't believe you're scared of magic, Sarah. It's a gift as mundane to me as your bow to you. To me. Are you referring to the giant hole in the sky or the creature out of Chantry cautionary tale who wants to be a god? Locking people into cages isn't the answer. What do you know of my kind, Blackwall? Questions. I imagine you're eager to be rid of me. And fair enough. Just a little longer, then. My visits to the Fade are normally more pleasant. I don't usually wake up feeling the need to bathe. Getting ahead of myself again, I see. Our resident expert seems to think we're on the right path. I'm also a mage. Would you prefer me bound and leashed? What are they? Some manner of super Templar? Is this one of those southern secrets like proper hygiene? Every time I think I've seen the ugliest possible Avar statue, a new one turns up that surpasses my expectations. But a spirit's true form is always monstrous, or at least unnatural. Back in my homeland, we keep spirits as servants. Fine. Magister, you can't call me pampered. Nobody's peeled a grape for me in weeks. Yes, being paraded about like an exotic peacock is better than running frantically from Templars. Here I thought you poked around prisons, hunting for murderers, desperate to escape the noose. Something you need? It will be interesting. A divine, likely to punch heretics in the face. We still need to deal with the renegade Templars, however. Typical drama. Come to Skyhold. No, don't be silly. Sarah! Cassandra! Cole! Oh, not good. Vivienne! Solas! There's no guarantee that we're going to survive this. Dorian of House Parvus, most recently of Minrathus. How do you do? Is it me? Or did the temperature plunge as we stepped inside? You seem very interested in my opinions. You can hear the collective gasps. A mage as divine. It's like home, but with less blood magic. Now that's something you don't see every day. Uh-oh, nobody's here. This doesn't bode well. Bull! Varric, this is bad. Someone help Cole. Vivienne! Damn it, Solus. Hold on! Usually. Sometimes. Well, never mind that. Magister Alexius was once my mentor, so my assistance should be valuable, as I'm sure you can imagine. You have a gift, Inquisitor. If only all spirits were this easy to get rid of. Hopefully before you sewed my mouth shut. Ah, that clearly worked out well. The winter architecture at its finest. This just screams I hated my parents and had no friends as a child, doesn't it? And this is how you want to look. The things they can be made to do are quite marvelous. You should see them. Not helpful, but given our history, I'll accept it. Thaumaturgy. Oh, a dig at my homeland. This should be fun. It's not such a terrible thing. Some of my best friends are murderers. Here we are again. It will be difficult to return to Tevinter after all this. Crumbling ruins like that remind me of home. In Tevinter, you can't spit without hitting something decrepit. The place is deserted. Is this normal, or—
The bull is down!
As you wish. I suppose so.
I'm too pretty to die!
We need to retreat!
Of course, a fear demon would know where to hurt us most. We must ignore it.
All right, let's say this once. I'm a mage from Tevinter, but not a member of the Magisterium. Claw marks on the walls. Best not to think about it too much. Makes you wonder about the sad, mid-level bureaucrat who thought building an outpost here would be a career boost. It's interesting, I'll give you that. An archdemon attacking me as a first. Vivian, are you saying you wouldn't rather live in a land where mages aren't herded into cages like dogs? Let me guess. The locals claim this place is haunted. Fancy meeting you here and leaving you. Most difficult of all. I'd almost rather let the Imperium rot. I'm going to guess they weren't out here just to watch the pretty birds. Father.
Help for the mage, please! Take that, you filth! Another blighter falls! The herald! Quick!
Well, that's going to grow tiresome quickly.
I know Southerners use the terms interchangeably, but that only makes you sound like barbarians. That should stop the undead hordes from attacking Crestwood. Incidentally, Cassandra, I'm well aware you lied to me. Reminds me of the Donarchs, actually. Just much, much colder. Can you change your form, Cole? If you wanted to look like something else. Ah, yes. Point taken. Magical endeavors. Helpful wonders. Nothing at all, Bull? No trouble having a vint behind you? I do love how you're always on the go. It's tiring to watch you. You'll be deprived of my company. And I know what a hardship that must be. Who in their right mind would worship a giant demon-spitting hole in the sky? Ah, wait. I just answered myself. You knew about this?
Is that why you brought me here?
I'm going to enjoy killing this thing.
What? There's no applause. Fine. The whole area is still lit up. Remarkable. Fields of mud. Ugh. Do you use spirits as servants, Solus? You'd have no trouble capturing them. I don't think I should take that bet. I'm the first to admit Magisters aren't perfect, but they've also done great things. They're allowed to. Who's judging now? Always a sight for sore eyes. I have a good friend here. You don't find those just lying about. A cave! Hooray! So the whole story about the family retainer was just, what? A smokescreen? More. They didn't strike me as excellent actors, no. When you said the Mage Rebellion was beyond the power of the Seekers to control, what do they call this? A bog? Lovely word. I'm shocked I've never seen this plant before. It's so melodramatic, half the Magisterium should be growing it. There are Magisters who'd be ecstatic if they could summon a demon who could pass for human. You can't deny you enjoy butchering my people. Could I adore you more? Probably not. Such is my lot. Just a little longer, then. They're falling back into the canyon!
Help? Is that what you call this?
Rather uncalled for.
Video by Selfie Gaming. Subscribe, like, and follow.
Vivian, we can continue this dance forever if you wish. You stand there, flexing your muscles, huffing like some beast of burden with no thought save conquest. Not just for me. Fun for the whole family. It means every perceived flaw, every aberration is deviant and shameful. It must be hidden. Suspicious friends you have here. About anything in particular? I am a bad man. We'll talk later. So I hit a nerve with the whole murderer Grey Warden business. Back home, we engage in social affairs with the grim intensity of war. When blood is spilled, the battle is won. That's not all it's about. I'm sure he's on his way. He was to give you the note, then meet us here after ditching his father. The Venatori. So wonderful to see old friends. Of course not. Magister Parvus couldn't come to Skyhold and be seen with the dread Inquisitor. What would people think?
So this can't be the Divine.
The rift you closed here. You saw how it twisted time around itself, sped some things up and slowed others down. What a sad mess. Will the Inquisition bring him in? You're right about that. they would. Surely you see there's nothing to fear in a properly used tool. Well, that much is true. The Inquisitor's work is never done, I see. Staying in the south could prove interesting. One's always warmest next to the fire. The Horsemaster, I presume. What is this exactly, Father? Ambush? Kidnapping? Warm family reunion? The first time I entered the Fade, it looked like a lovely castle filled with gold and silks. Soon, there will be more like it. And they'll appear further and further away from Redcliffe. Look at all the bodies. No wonder the undead seem endless. No Kunari would accept a Tevinter mage so easily, unless it was a ruse. When should I expect a knife in the back? Knee-jerk defense of your former comrades. I quite understand. Do you need to eat, Cole? Or sleep? There's no harm in putting them to constructive use. And most mages back home treat them well. What's the problem? Someone shows up, tears the place apart, declares himself king. That's half of history. It might sound that way to someone who's been clubbed on the head too often. I thought I'd never see Cassandra blush. Not the only reason. It seems our renegade Templars prefer not to fight actual mages. Oh, no, you don't. I want a witness. I want someone to hear the truth. I met a marvelous desire demon, as I recall. We chatted and ate grapes before he attempted to possess me. The magic Alexius is using is wildly unstable, and it's unraveling the world. Spirits can't resist, you know. They reach out to see what our reality is like and get trapped. There's an image. Your outfit's entertaining, I'll give you that. Everyone remember not to look down. Interesting story. I was speaking with your ambassador not long ago. It will be difficult to leave. You've been a good friend, and that's rare. It can also sense gullible morons. No. You wanted to involve yourself, you should hear the truth. Yes. I hear your harrowings are slightly more strenuous. I know what I'm talking about. I helped develop this magic. What's left of it? Do you think he'll want it back? That's different. Oh? Were they not responsible for keeping peace with the mages? Just try not to think about it. Or fall. Falling would be worse. That's something. I don't know what, but it's something. What? Spirits don't have magical talent. Even after he puts a hole in the ceiling. Terribly common. That's what I'd expect. From your kind. I spoke to Sarah earlier, and the subject of you came up. I'll miss all this at home. I'd say we should get our own Inquisition, but the uniforms would be tacky. The Venatori are creating these Oculara to help search for something. Yes, Father. Talk to me. Let me hear how mystified you are by my anger. Perhaps the difference is that we are here physically. This is no one's dream. When I was still his apprentice, it was pure theory. Alexius could never get it to work. Let's close it before more of them decide to try on corpses. What about when you're injured? Why do you bleed? Is it because you think you have to? So what's your estimation, Varric? Think we can win? I'd have to jump down after you. It would be very touching and so melodramatic it would become tiresome. Blackwall? He does seem quite the man. There's no rush to leave right now. You've a few adventures in you yet. Wonder why they went to such trouble. You don't know the half of it. But maybe you should. Be ready! I'm guessing those aren't friendly either! What I don't understand is why he's doing it. Ripping time to shreds just to gain a few hundred lackeys? You mean aside from wearing all your armor and wading in? Fine. Not all of you. Nobody wants to be the one to tell the world the Inquisitor fell off a log into an abyss. Solus, have I offended you? I could have pretended. Wore fancy clothes, convinced everyone I'm something I'm not. If I had something to say, I'd say it. Marvelous business, the Winter Palace. I'll be returning to Tevinter once things have settled down. If they settle down. Most likely. The keys to that old ruin in the desert. I prefer the company of men. My father disapproves. Smaller fears, I would wager. Scavenging whatever the nightmare leaves behind. Took you long enough. Is he getting suspicious? Yes. You have me there. That's not... I don't think I can continue. What would that look like? 3-1? Then I could take a position at court, whore myself out, and desperately hope no one realizes what a fraud I am. Let's not start a whole game of who looked down and suddenly felt the weight of their own mortality, shall we? You saved an empress, and now she's eating out of your hand. perfect mental image. Most likely those strange shards we found. Did I stutter? Men and the company thereof, as in sex. Surely you've heard of it.
Spiders? Those look more like darkspawn to me.
It would also be nice if he didn't rip a hole in time. There's already a hole in the sky. Cassandra, I owe you an apology. Some of us have to concentrate on walking, because we're here working together for a common cause, and because I respect your abilities. And I'd expect no less from a brutish thug. Yes, but what are they doing here? Allow me to say, women are fine creatures. You, for instance, are amazing above all others. Ah, of course. The demons look different to each of us. Personalized little terrors. Send him a fruit basket. Everyone loves those. If you do happen to look down, I also don't recommend thinking about how far it is to the ground. I'm curious about you. I had no idea something like you was possible. Not today. An empress dead, her replacement in your pocket. A charming fellow, though still a bit of a thug. Oh, I don't know. We humans are so preoccupied by our inadequacies. Not to my recollection. Don't get me wrong, they're wonderful. I suppose we should follow the divine. Whatever she is our way out of here. You know you're his target. Expecting the trap is the first step in turning it to your advantage. I'm not going to be the one to explain to Cullen that I let you fall to your death from a tree. Well, I realize there's more to you than that. After Corypheus pulled an archdemon out of his arse, are you joking? For judging your seekers. Considering my feelings on Tevinter, I shouldn't throw stones. An empress dead, an emperor under your spell, and that elven harpy eating out of your hand. If she doesn't bite it off. Good. I'd hate to resort to drawing pictures. Clarel went that way. Care to wager whether she enjoyed meeting her new god? I can't stay in Redcliffe. Alexius doesn't know I'm here, and I want to keep it that way for now. I have no desire to tell Josephine that I let you fall to your doom from a tree in the middle of nowhere. You can ask me questions if you like. I'm not sure why you'd want to, but tell that to Mr. Barely Concealed Envy Issues. Saving the day, reconciling lovers, mediating a civil war. So sugary it's nauseating. Well, it's not as if I introduced myself that way. Hello, my name is Dorian. I like men. A bit dramatic if you ask me. But whenever you're ready to deal with him, I want to be there. I'll be in touch. It was fun to goad you. You get this little knot between your eyebrows. I was hoping we might find common ground, that's all. I have only the one. All this dancing, politics and murder makes me a bit homesick. Maybe I should start. Some days it seems that's all anyone cares about. No, Livius, you're the tool. Oh, and Felix, try not to get yourself killed. I'm going to regret this, aren't I? Solus, for what it's worth, I'm sorry. I'm wondering if familiarity would cure your suspicion of magic. Now, if I weren't here, it'd be 5-1 at least. See? There it is. Delightful. There could have been more corpses about. Although I suppose we might have tripped over them. And why should it be? Why should anyone care? I have no idea. I am. Someone had to warn you after all. You're not suggesting we're similar. The elven city of Arlathan sounds like a magical place. And for my ancestors to have destroyed it, best pound your chest so nobody doubts. Nonsense. I simply enjoy the drama. They're just not for me. That's not so beyond belief, is it? Look, you must know there's danger. That should be obvious even without the note. It's true. I did say that. Please stop saying tool. And consider how much magic can accomplish. Still don't like me, Cassandra, after all this time? Watch as you twist an entire empire around your little finger. Yes, please. No, it is called for. You called for it by luring me here. Let's start with Alexius claiming the allegiance of the mage rebels out from under you. There are benefits for you and everyone. As the Maker said, magic exists to serve. This is why I adore him so. I may vomit. Of course, that leaves only Tevinter. And it wouldn't work as well there. I'm never what you wanted, Father. Or had you forgotten? As if by magic, yes? Which is exactly right. To reach Redcliffe, before the Inquisition, Alexius distorted time itself. I'm not certain I can explain it to you. See? Here's a chance to prove your confidence, Varric. Not every way. There is my family. Who wouldn't? All the drama, the scandal, the petty maneuverings. Only if you're trying to live up to an impossible standard. Now, I'm ever so much more handsome than a cockroach. It's true. I've heard worse from our gardener back home. I can't imagine why more people don't join the Wardens. If you don't enjoy this sort of thing, perhaps you should rethink this whole Inquisition business. Every Tevinter family is intermarrying to distill the perfect mage, perfect body, perfect mind, the perfect leader. Alexius was my mentor. Meaning he's not any longer, not for some time. Ghastly, isn't it? Toss it all on the fire and be done with it, that's what I say. Sometimes love isn't enough, Cole. I don't know that I can do that.
Video by Selfie Gaming. Subscribe, like, and follow.
He was going to do a blood ritual. Alter my mind. Make me acceptable. We've seen his temporal rifts before. This time we simply passed through one. Please stop helping the dwarf. I'm not made for the wilderness. I'm more taverns and big cities. Did he actually walk into the Black City? Is that true? You should be thankful. I've been to Weishaupt. It's not good. You're surprised they haven't all dismissed me as the charming but ultimately wicked magister. I suppose it's more fun this way. For me, I mean. You're rather strapping, I found out. I left. Those are excellent questions. We'll have to find out, won't we? Is it true that the right of tranquility can be reversed, Cassandra? Wild animals everywhere. Don't these people hunt? The Fade is still a mystery to us humans, yes. Probably always will be. Is everywhere in Ferelden so moist? I was rather hoping I had. I mock Orlesian frippery and nonsense, you mock Tevinter decadence and tyranny. I knew you'd come around. Less fun when you're the target, but to watch. My. Yes. Yet here I am once again. No thanks to you. He's had some lingering illness for months. Felix is an only child, and Alexius is being a mother hen, most likely. What? There's a lake like this one near my family's estates. Fewer demons. For hating the outdoors, you really do seem to like bad weather. The Imperium is founded on the notion that we defeated Alathan. Most of the Imperial Chantry's teachings are the same as in the south, despite some finicky bits about magic. There is, however, something far more important we should remember. Yes, you, Blackwall, or whatever your name is, we were there. That's what counts. I agree, let's go. There's nothing more to be gained here. Good, you're finally here. Now help me close this, would you? Quaint area. Fereldans live a bit like barbarians, don't they? It's not something my people should be proud of, but they are. It's ingrained in their psyche. Varric, I want a new nickname. Let me guess, because he's Tevinter. Put a leash on the rebel mages, I see. Why? So you can spout more convenient lies? You'll have to do better than that. No, it was very much not. Now I see why they wear so much fur. The other day, you were outside in the rain staring up with a grin on your face. Yes, quite. The parts where we're wrong. At least we're not Antivan. I'm saying I understand wanting to atone for one's actions. The Inquisition supports free mages. What's next? Elves running Hallamsharal? Cows milking farmers? Let's just go. Well, I'm glad that's over with. Let's be watchful. I understand this country's full of dogs. Oh, this is not the sort of discussion for walking around. Please drop it. I'm worried what it might do to them if they did. You must know me better now. Or does the moniker you gave me 5 minutes after we met still apply? Darling Cassandra, Corypheus is from a Tevinter that's been dead and gone 1,000 years. Interesting how they seem to like the idea. As if it's a relief to be penned in again. He taught me to hate blood magic. The resort of the weak mind. Those are his words. Or not. Whatever nostalgic vision he's selling, it has little to do with my Tevinter. Or his followers, frankly. Of course you do. That orb Corypheus carries. Are you certain it's of elven origin, Solas? How do you picture me busting out? I'm walking along and oops, demon. Enough to know when I've stepped in it. So I apologize. Better to be in the fold than out in the wilds. For a sheep, that is. But what was the first thing you did when your precious heir refused to play pretend for the rest of his life? Hopefully better than what Alexius gave you. The Inquisition is better than that, yes? I know I did. The things you ask are just very personal. I mean, it could happen, despite my training. You could also trip and impale your eye on an arrow. So I'm a bit of light you stick in a windowsill to impress passers-by. All flash, no heat. Truly? It's nice to know you have friends. I have no idea what you're talking about. Not my place to disagree, is it? It just seems like you're repeating history. You try to change me. Alexius's spell didn't kill us. It sent us forward in time. That's how we survived. Some of my countrymen look at the current state of our nation and despair. Who hasn't already seen your collection of books? There are paintings in the Magisterium's archives of men holding similar orbs. That's actually pretty clever. People who say that to me are usually wrong. On the contrary, I approve. Heartily.
You wanted the best for you. For your fucking legacy. Anything for that.
You skipped over too much. Look at the poor man. They hear how powerful and glorious we once were and think, that would be better. It has to be. Are we still talking about clouds? They were depictions of a time long before the Magisters. The ancient dreamers, perhaps. Certainly. But only because you're so dear to me. Rumors you were only too happy to verify, I assume.
You are impossible. This is...
I suspect that's untrue. Unless you strip yourself naked and allow the Chantry to flog you into repentance.
No. The Herald of Andraste.
I am shocked and scandalized. Alexius sent us forward in time. If we find him, we may be able to return to the present. What they overlook is that Corypheus wasn't here for our downfall. He has no idea it was unavoidable.
Can someone tell him to stop? Banish him back to the Fade or something.
The texts call those orbs somnamborium, vessels of dreams. Could they be the same thing? Varric, are you and Cassandra... Obviously the original Blackwall saw something in you. I respect that. That would surprise me. You're not exactly subtle, O Lord Inquisitor. Are they praying? Meaning what exactly? Oh, thank you. Never mind. Drinks and insults later? I mean, unless you're a dull sort. I suspect that's not the case. Now I'm trying to think how they'll write that verse of the chant. Let's try to take them by surprise. Discretion isn't your thing, is it? You're asking me? I'll wager he believes he is the truth. And Corypheus isn't far removed from that time. Truly? Bizarre. I didn't like that life. I mean, unless you're as thick as you seem. Which would be sad, really.
No. You don't get to make those assumptions. You know nothing about the Inquisitor. Block the stairs! Marvelous. Everyone's so helpful.
We found elves. Living, ancient elves at the Temple of Mythal. Does that bother you, Solas? I'm going to take that as a compliment. How well did you know Empress Selene, Vivian?
Why, Cassandra, I've never seen you smile so much.
It all depends on what you do with these mages later. No guarantee you'll throw them back into circles again, I suppose? We are.
Doesn't look like the Elder One is interested in saving his followers.
Sadly, there's an element there who would welcome Corypheus with open arms. A stupidly short-sighted element. See? She's right there. What are you waiting for? Truce? Oh, I'm not arguing. Just pointing out the ridiculously obvious. I agree. We will help him by making sure this never happens. Now you're not, but only because I pointed it out. Your mind is being influenced by the spirits here. They're drawing sorrow from you like you draw water from a well. Are you sad she died?
If you choose to leave your door unlocked like a savage, I may or may not come.
Oh, there were definitely other choices. You picked the one that'll shock the children.
Tell me why you came.
It was an act of courage. He knew there was no other way to resist.
No.
I'm sorry. Of course you don't understand. Just leave me with it for now. I mean them being there at all. Thousands of years later, and they live. Quite. Not according to your books. I've been thinking. I do wonder if you've considered what this support of yours will do. For mages in general, I mean. He says we're alike. Too much pride. They want it to be just like the world of old Tevinter. Comforting, isn't it? I've been trying to imagine how to explain it to you, Cole. There could be others in ruins we haven't yet discovered. Shouldn't we be looking for them? That would be easier to believe if you hadn't just blushed. The Inquisition is seen as an authority. You've given southern mages license to... well, be like mages back home. Once I would have been overjoyed to hear him say that. Now I'm not certain. They haven't noticed us yet. Good opportunity to look for higher ground. What would you know about it? True Qunari don't have families. The thing is, sometimes the ones you love are also the ones who disappoint you the most. Something particularly funny? Varric, when you were at the Winter Palace, did you meet Selene's handmaidens? I was about to say that you're too hard on yourself, Blackwall. It's true. The conditions here are different. Southern mages aren't used to ruling. I don't know if I can forgive him. They're right there. Perhaps we should try to find another way in. You think that if they love you, they should understand. They shouldn't want to hurt you. No, Never mind. You must be greatly relieved, Vivian, after what happened at the Winter Palace. I always smile. People like my smile, and they should. I have excellent teeth. Not at first. But you'd be a fool not to see where this could lead. He's a good man, my father. Deep down. He taught me principle is important. Sorry for interrupting your dinner. Simply and absolutely no. So you feel betrayed. You say things you can't ever take back. I'm glad it amuses you. But what I get from my affairs is my affair. They were asking me about you. Personal things. You're not the thug I thought you were. You're not the thug anyone thought you were. Thing is, the Imperium was once just like the South. Templars, proper circles, all that rot. Then it changed. By inches. He cares for me in his way, but he won't ever change. Displacement. Interesting. I wonder if that's a good thing. Your position is also secure, considering how instrumental the Inquisition was in Celine's survival. It depends how long until dinner. Not that this is reason to oppress us. Still, my homeland should be a cautionary tale, not a source of inspiration. I can't forgive him for what he did. I won't. It's probably not what Alexius intended. The rift must have moved us to what? The closest confluence of arcane energy? Your legend is first Thor. Really? They think you defrosted their god for them? How valiant. Yes. Like that. I can't believe I was in the Fade. Physically. I'm not sure which is worse, the mockery or the accuracy. Something about your chest hair, and whether you were currently involved with anyone. Point is, you should let yourself off the hook. I know bad men, and you're not one. Ha! There aren't many mages back home like me. No, not really. Let's see. If we're still in the castle, it isn't. Oh, of course, it's not simply where, it's when. Let's hope so. Perhaps a bit warbly instead. I can't believe you entered the Fade. Physically. We're not in court, dear woman. No need for the honey. Yay, good on me. I never fit in. Bloodstains are so difficult to clean, you see. Out of desperation. I wouldn't put on a show, marry the girl, keep everything unsavory, private and locked away. Alexius used the amulet as a focus. It moved us through time. I don't see how this is even remotely your business, Varric. Nobody wants to be the one to tell the world the Inquisitor fell off a log into an abyss. Cole, you saw Corypheus when he attacked Haven. What was your read on him? I'd assumed you'd go off to Weishaupt with Hawk, Varric. Of course not. Let's not go crazy with defying expectations. I could watch you roam Skyhold all day. Selfish, I suppose. Not to want to spend my entire life screaming on the inside. Normally, I would say no. Obviously, Alexius has taken his research to exciting new heights. I won't say you're lucky because that's not true. But there are days. What a lovely forest. Kind of makes you want to retch, yes? It's the second time that's been done in all of history. That's not nothing, Solus. Vivian, I'm curious. You must have crossed paths with Lady Morrigan in the court, yes? I'm not thrilled to discover we should take those old legends at face value. Here and there you run, checking in on your followers. Why don't they come to you, feed you grapes, rub your shoulders?
Video by Selfie Gaming. Subscribe, like, and follow.
Yes? I left my homeland, Varric. I didn't up and turn peasant. You know, I've never met an elf quite like you, Sarah. Regardless, I think we're still good to go. By at least 3 ages. As any good mage would. Depends on which branch of the family you come from. I wouldn't worry, she's not my type. Not all of them, but yes, you have a point. Nice, isn't it? Like being at a quality library, provided you're not the one stocking the shelves. Lively for a wasteland, I'll give it that. Indeed! Yay! No, but I'm glad I have now. For fine wine and literature, Varric, not for whatever that contraption is. It's freezing. Why is a desert freezing? Oh, pish! You go back far enough. 90% of Thedas has to Winterblood. No need to panic, Inquisitor. Dwarven ruins on the surface. That must be a year's worth of arguments for the scholars. Carved into a mountain, cold, dour, everyone so bloody serious they can't take a piss. You wouldn't like it. Odd. I'd have thought you'd easily relate to a commoner of ambition. Why wouldn't he? Tevinter once covered all Thedas, its glory only matched by its depravity. Thanking someone for a deserved compliment is always the correct choice. It crushed me to think he found that absurd risk preferable to scandal. I'm not certain it'll be a matter of snapping our fingers, but yes, I quite agree. It'd be like Koslan showing up and learning the Canary didn't conquer the world after all. We're going to get lost and starve to death, aren't we? A glorious end for the Inquisition. I'll take that as a maybe. Fewer horses, marginally. More cheering, definitely. A prince? I've moved up in the world. My reasons for being here are the same as yours, thank you. If the Inquisitor was some grim-faced old man, it would be such a cliché. This is better. Maybe. It could also have left me a drooling vegetable. It sounds terrible, depending on when we are and what happened while we were away. Maker's breath, if I count the Tranquil and Tevinter alone. Why emerald graves? What graves? Did they bury people here? And he is quite the ray of sunshine, that's true. You could at least have had the courtesy to use the bedposts. Touchy, I see. As you wish. Part of me has always hoped he didn't really want to go through with it. Let's look around, see where the rift took us. Then we can figure out how to get back. If we can. What does the Canary priesthood tell your people about losing the war? Did you enjoy the Winter Palace, Cole? You're not the first to say so. I see you're having fun with your illustrious paramour. And she is quite the ray of sunshine, that's true. Perhaps when you get past the simple heuristics that define your world, we'll get along. Yet the last time I saw her part ways with you... If he had. I can't even imagine the person I would be now. I wouldn't like that, Dorian. I believe his original plan was to remove you from time completely. I'd assumed you'd go off to Weishaupt with Hawk, Varric. It's a sentence handed down by the Magisterium. Abuse of magic has so many convenient interpretations. Good on you, Miss Sayre. Perhaps you can relax some of the stiffness out of that armor of hers. It was a start, at least. If that happened, you would never have been at the Temple of Sacred Ashes or mangled his Elder One's plan. They've been fighting Tevinter for centuries and still haven't won. Did you try dancing? Or did you skulk around invisibly? Yes, and I'd live longer if I only ate rice and boiled vegetables. But that's just as unlikely. No! I meant you appear to be enjoying your new relationship. I'm very sorry about Hawk, Varric. Oh? Why not? Have a thing for strapping young Templars, I see. You're very optimistic. It's a charming trait. I think your surprise in the castle hall made him reckless. He tossed us into the rift before he was ready. Solus, what's this whole look of yours about? You couldn't ask for a more personal introduction to magic. A little bird tells me you might be up for the Sunburst throne, Cassandra. Dearest Josephine, I said, how remarkably distracted and flush you seem. Whatever could be the reason? The lure of the shortcut. Hard for anyone to resist. I counted it. The magic went wild, and here we are. Makes sense. It's barely an eye-watering slap fight, I'll grant you, but every now and again it heats up, and not poke around in the heads of the other dancers. Does he have any family, or...? Ignoring that that's not the case, I suspect people will use any excuse to hate us. And she dropped her pen. Bravo, Inquisitor. I think he knows that. It's just hard for him to admit. I don't even want to think about what this will do to the fabric of the world. No, that outfit is sorry. What are you supposed to be, some kind of woodsman? It's that simple? Does she have any family, or...? You'd certainly be a first step towards that. I'm uncertain what I said, but she spat on the ground like a peasant. It's too bad he'll never understand why. We didn't travel through time so much as punch a hole through it and toss it into the privy. What are they waiting for? Is this a Dalish thing? Don't you dislike the Dalish? Or is it some kind of statement? Did everyone act like this when the sword was invented? I hope she amuses you plenty. Thank you for bringing me out there. It wasn't what I expected, but it's something. But don't worry. I'm here. I'll protect you. You'd be mad to consider it. Can you imagine the target it would place on you? Is that what that light, tingly feeling is? I suppose you're right. I'm very sorry about Hawk, Varric. Oh, my blushing butt cheeks. Round up everyone who can use these pointy things and lock them away. Our dances are so much more intense. If an evening lacks a murder, we sniff and call it a bore. Thank you for bringing me out there. Even if it didn't work out. I doubt it was large enough to bring the whole room through. Alexius wouldn't risk catching himself or Felix in it. I did, in words you apparently don't understand. Varric, did I hear this right? You met Corypheus before? Well, it says apostate hobo to me. At any rate, you didn't pass by to hear me fawn. Something on your mind? You could have told me. They're probably still where and when we left them. In some sense, anyway. Do you think they'll actually make you divine? But he did. Abelas said the elves destroyed themselves. I'm still wrapping my head around that. I hope you tried the ham they were serving, by the way. Tasted of despair. It's fascinating. Maybe I wouldn't have gone, maybe I would. How will I ever know? Why didn't you let me decide? Leader of the Venatori, I suspect. Some magister aspiring to godhood. Let me do us both a favor and retract the question. And he said what? Hello, I'm one of the magisters who broke into the Black City. Pleased to meet you. Sounds like someone's jealous their position at the Empress's side was usurped. One of mine? Like a pet? Like a giant darkspawn hamster with aspirations of godhood? If this is some Venatori connivance, I will be utterly disappointed. Taking me out there without a word. Even if you didn't know it would be him. Why didn't you let me decide? It's the same old tune. Let's play with magic we don't understand. It will make us incredibly powerful. For one, I've no proof. Secondly, if I did, they'd lose their collective minds. It's so odd. Like waiting for the Chantry Fairy to appear. Congratulations, you're the ruler. Any progress on protecting yourself from binding, Cole? While we're sharing surprises, you've done a lot less dancing naked in the moonlight than I expected. Dorian, why can't you look after your little friends? Corypheus peed on the carpet again. No, that would be too much. But contacting some southern cleric on the sly, much wiser. It is. Evidently, it doesn't matter if you rip apart the fabric of time in the process. They might decide they have something to prove. Can you imagine? You must have been driven mad in the temple, Not very well, it appears. In this analogy, the carpet is Haven. I can't believe my father's gall. Of course, he couldn't come here to Skyhold. I'll pretend you weren't secretly hoping I would patch things up and go home. Then we get comfortable in our new present. Hop to it. You're quick with those daggers. I'd rather not have them pointed at me. I wanted to see you make flowers bloom with your song. Just once. Darkspawn, madman, relic of an unwanted past. Don't keep me in suspense. The successor must prove he could slaughter his enemies. He doesn't actually do it. We're not savages. Do, when you have the time. There's something there that might interest you. But if you meant well, then thank you for the attempt. I have some thoughts on that. They're lovely thoughts. Like little jewels. It was mystifying. Lovely turn of phrase, incidentally. Meaning the source of everything bad and evil in the world? They are the same, yes? Have you been to your quarters lately by chance? I suppose you did at that. I'm right behind you. That's considered housekeeping. You know why. I had to stop the Venatori. The nullification disrupts any ambient magic lying about. Things then burn hotter. No. Not that my warning did much good. I have to admit, it does feel good to have my amulet back. As was my father. Or so he claimed. Alexius didn't kill us. His spell sent us through time. This is our future. Sad. I would have given half a toe to see it. Where does that saying come from? I'm not a sheep. No one in my family could be described as sheep. By all means, let's all discuss this together. Now there's no chance of me getting it back. Not unless... I don't know what... Shantikafas, what a mess! By varying definitions, certainly. If we find him, we might be able to get back to our own time and stop all this before it happens. Exciting, yes? There is that. The ones who didn't join the Venatori either ran off or were killed. Proof it isn't an archdemon at all, I'd say. Digging around in my head again, are you? Ah, no. I warp the veil slightly to affect distance between the spells. I'm not here on behalf of my nation's reputation, Vivian. I'm here to do what is right. Only verifying certain rumors, big man. You understand. I sold him the birthright. It was his to do with as he pleased and my responsibility. As am I. That you had to witness any of it. This conversation has taken a turn for the moronic. Just come with us. We're going to fight Alexius. If I were any nicer to him, we'd be joined at the hip. Goodness. I had no idea. I'm happy, he's happy, everyone's happy. I can't believe you killed that fool merchant. Maker knows what you must think of me now, after that whole display. No, he's not. If we find Alexius, we go back and none of this will happen. Remember? I'm thrilled. Really. If Grey Wardens are good for anything, it's killing an archdemon. This one rose again. It's rather like inviting someone into your house and they walk off with the silverware. Like cracking a whip. Yes, tried it once. made my teeth taste funny. Yes, well, that seems unlikely. Vivian, you've joined the exclusive club of mages who've strolled about the Fade. Academic? Future generations will want to know. I'm not above a bit of attachment, apparently. Bloody thing. The things you say. Try to take out that enchanter quickly. You seemed remarkably comfortable at the Winter Palace Ball. I'd say Corypheus created it. A tribute to his old gods. Or an emulation of them. Mountains. Cold. Let's bring Dorian. Cole, you should be careful dancing around with those daggers when I'm throwing fire. I can't believe you made it through the Winter Palace in one piece. So, I assume you're Talvashoth or something like. My father never understood. Living a lie, it festers inside of you like poison. I could really go for some light reading. Treacherous ground here. I'm picturing myself bumping all the way down a mountain. Ah, Solus, you startled me. You're always so nondescript. Still good, actually. Any thoughts? I overheard you at the tavern, Blackwall, asking about the Inquisitor and I. A little bird told me you were part of the Carter Inquisitor. You have to fight for what's in your heart. Everywhere. At least the walk back will be easier than the walk up. He saved all of Orlais from the Avar, and no one ever knew. That doesn't always mean what you think it means. You don't play their stupid game, they send an assassin or three your way. You didn't knock over a single priceless statue or fart even once near the dessert table. So I take it you're Dalish? Is that the correct word here? It might. If you were unattached. Alexius always hated the right of tranquility. He thought it was proof of the South's barbarity. That? Or we need a much deeper chasm. Not the most idyllic mountainside, is it? Solus, that little flare you sometimes do with your staff, you're redirecting ambient energy to your personal aura? We're beating his minions, my hirsute little friend. Not the same thing. You have a question? Are your whiskers quivering with curiosity? It occurs to me that you're a mage. It matters to me. I'd rather there be no misunderstanding with the others. Those gifted with magic, so feared that the mundanes destroyed their minds. Reminds me of the High Reaches, but with more snow. The stuff of dreams, an explosion of color and sensation wrapped in an enigma. You have no problem with escalation, do you? Besides, the moment we crush Corypheus into the sand, I'll be more than happy to pay up. I wish I hadn't been. The fewer Tevinters who enter the Fade, the better. I'm surprised you never spent time in the Tevinter courts. They would adore you. Did you know we're actually related, Inquisitor? Ah, the flirting. He called it the worst thing that could be done to anyone. I'm imagining what you would look like in a dress. Fascinating. It's a Tevinter technique. I've never seen anyone in this part of the world do it. Are you certain? I can draw diagrams. If you weren't, you would have split my skull open at our first meeting before I said a word. You're a remarkable woman, Inquisitor. I mean that in the best way. In another life. We need to find Alexius. I'm sure he'll be in the nicer part of the castle, if there is one. When you were in the Fade, that will make it harder to spend my winnings, true. Oh, I'd rather no more Tevinters enter the Fade. We rather fouled things up the last time. I will never understand why Kunari warriors spend half their time running around bare-chested. Centuries of warfare with the Kunari do lead to this state of affairs. I meant no offense. I'll desist if you prefer. Maker's breath, where did Alexius find this? How did he even move it here? If the elves had helped Orlais during the Second Blight, Orlais might not have turned on them later. Oh, that means we... Never mind, then. My family once took me to Navarra, Cassandra. I'll thank my lucky stars, then. I'd like that. What in Andraste's name is that? Hold on to it. I want to look at it later. It's stupid. They should wear armor. So when I cast a fireball, it's just the Fade saying peekaboo. I only meant to ask if my family had their way, with somewhat less cataclysmic results. I am very good at the whole magic thing. True. Generating goodwill hasn't exactly been a Tevinter strength through the ages. I stand so instructed. Let's head back to the main hall. I think I know how we'll open that door. Let me get this straight, Solus. I was young, and all I wanted to do was visit a necropolis. I was desperate. A similarity of my people to yours, in fact. Of course, dear lady. Perhaps. But it looks quite strong. How desperate and paranoid must he be? They should wear armor all the time. If it says anything other than I'm going to burn your face off, I don't want to hear it. You're an apostate, neither Dalish nor city elf, who lived alone in the woods studying spirits. Livia Herodotus. Bright girl, hourglass figure, wicked tongue. Relieved I'm gone, I expect. Only that I'm pleased we got out. Demons don't appreciate a man with good hair. Why be ashamed? Power should be respected, not swept under the carpet. Instead, we're like two cats in a sack. Sad, really. You're not the first to say that. His servants must have a way through. He has to eat. Let's look around. Cole, are those real clothes or... Not quite. Corypheus is one of a kind. An original darkspawn, it turns out. Wait. You're jealous, aren't you? Ah, there goes that childhood fantasy. A philosophy I've learned to live by. Fair enough. Thankfully, you've plenty of your own troubles, against which I'm happy to help you contend. He resisted that demon to the last. We have a Ben Hasrath with us, a spy, an actual Qunari spy. So tell me this, are Navarin cities of the dead actually filled with undead? No, you're a special and unique snowflake. Live the dream. Oh, yes. Trading coy insults at every party would have been a delight. Maybe you're not a complete moron. None that specifically involve you being so very, very large. No. Oh? I'm so pleased to provide you amusement. This is madness. Alexius can't have wanted this. I thought maybe you conjured them, like your physical form. That, not all of them, but enough. You owe me 20 royals, Varric. I'd like them paid in candid dates. That doesn't strike anyone as a bad thing? Qunari raids are rather old hat for anyone from the Eastern Imperium. Just the one. My wounded pride. Somebody had very questionable taste. And then what? Let them wander around willy-nilly? A dreamer like Talana would be sensitive to demons. This spirit of Hakon would have caused her a great deal of pain. I'm trying to wrap my head around the idea that someone walked into the Fade again. Any thoughts on this Herald of Andraste business, Blackwall? Although the attacks aren't quite the rampaging wars of ages past. Brave. Alexius has made a dreadful mess of this place, hasn't he? Never mind. Forget I said anything. There's always more where they came from. Men like Corypheus aren't born. They're made. You said we'd be arse-deep in trouble. This is more like knee-high. That's not a terrible point. Okay. Now we're like two angry dowagers who only remember to spit at each other when they pass on the street. I see you enjoy playing with fire, Inquisitor. It was covered in the tackiest carvings of wolves and dogs I'd ever seen. Forever. I almost feel bad for them. That little trick, Cole, when you dip into someone's mind and take a drink. For being so unnerved by magic, you aren't shy about benefiting from its effects. So far as we know, I just need to know you're capable of higher thought. For my own comfort. I've met some Talvershoth in my time, however. Mercenaries and a few merchants. At any rate, time to drink myself into a stupor. It's been that sort of day. This is not an improvement. Do you choose what you're looking for, or is it random? Leave it to a dwarf, always lowering the bar. It's significantly more impressive than hitting them with a sharp piece of metal. They're not the same as Qunari. Might easily be a different people altogether. Join me sometime, if you've a mind. If red lyrium is an infection. Maker, why is it coming out of the walls? How do you want to be remembered, Cassandra? Valiant yet sexy rebel against the status quo? You consider swathing yourself in flame or ice normal and not magic? We don't know what happened to Corypheus and his lot. Even he doesn't seem to, not clearly. You'd do a word puzzle if I gave it to you? I didn't say that. Prejudices are deeply rooted back home. But I have more sympathy than most. I know my son. What happened while we were away? I'll take that bet. I win either way. I'm saying we should be careful what we assume when it comes to such matters. Yes. What's that like? I also have an appreciation for an entire people who are so... muscular. What my father knows of me would barely fill a thimble. This is so typical. I'm just asking for information. Sword raised high, blue scarf dramatically fluttering in the wind, sun rising behind you. Come on, just answer the question, Varric. Any thoughts on this Herald of Andraste business, Blackwall? A personal failing, some would say. I'm willing to bet this retainer is a henchman, hired to knock me on the head and drag me back to Tevinter. What became of Felix? Do you know? I'll... Thank you not to do that again, please. That was only... You know, if it lets you sleep at night, never mind. Vivienne, I heard about your friend, the Duke. I've often wondered what the average man thinks about mage freedom. It's a southerner thing. Most of them don't even know what a canary looks like. No, although I wouldn't put it past him. And you're not going to tell me? It's a painting, of course. Work with me, it'll be fantastic. You must have an opinion. And you're a dwarf, completely unbiased. Shantakafas, don't you ever bathe? Forgive their ignorance, O mighty one. They shall learn proper fear in time. Perhaps. Although this does look like my father's penmanship. How much damage did Alexius's spell do? You what? Thieves! Dog stink! I only meant to say I'm very sorry for your loss. If you were still a seeker, would you drag me to one of your circles? I suppose you are both so very, large. Or could he have joined the Venatori? No, that can't. Well, anything is possible. He wanted to die, didn't he? What would you say Blackwall's best feature is, Vivian? True. So much for that. Well, a big bird. A big, indiscreet bird who was drunk at the time. He expects me to travel with Mother Giselle, although Maker knows why he'd think I would. All those lies he told himself, the justifications. But you'd do it, even though I'm incredibly charming. It figures that most of the fighting happened here and not in Orlais proper. You had something similar in ancient Tevinter. People kept the holidays, but renamed them for the Maker. You're all right? Might want to rethink the hats. Treacherous Teons! I'd rather stand upwind. Not any longer. Too bad. They're an excellent source of cheap contraband. Let's go. Let's meet this so-called family retainer. He lost Felix long ago. And didn't even notice. Oh, Alexius. Before the elves were given this land, I understand it was mostly forest. You can hardly tell. So instead of celebrating Andaralis at the start of summer, you have Summer Day. And it's about the Maker. For the last time, not everyone in the Imperium is a Magister. I can't believe they served that swill at the tavern. What is Skyhold coming to? Quirks. What a delightful word. That's one way to put it. If it's a trap, we escape and kill everyone. You're good at that. Once he was a man to whom I compared all others. Sad, isn't it? Theon is a Ferelden title, beneath only the family of the king. I'd have expected you, of all people, to know that. How many battles have been fought on these plains over the ages? An issue? Why ever would it be an issue for me? If it's not, I send the man back to my father with a message that he can stick his alarm in his wit's end. I suppose that's true. Of course. I'm not a plebeian. All true. I wonder how different this land looked back when the elves had it. Festus Biomo Canaverum. Yes. But it's that black licorice candy with salt on it. Not the good kind. I'd call it medium. I couldn't stop. With each sip it can't be that bad, can it? Back home you see dwarves everywhere. And not just from the Ambassadoria. Interesting turn of phrase. This is the same amulet he used before. I think it's the same one we made in Minrathous. That's a relief. Exalted Plains. Named to honor the great victory of Orlais over the elves. Too late. I believe that's my round. All right, never let it be said I don't pay my debts. Here you are, 5 royals. Before I knew it, I was analyzing the nuances of its flavor, observing its effect on my nausea. Rather odd how in the south everyone thinks of dwarves as merchants. Limited view, in my opinion. But you're correct. They don't care for my choices, nor I for theirs. Give me an hour to work out the spell he used, and I should be able to reopen the rift. With the dances, yes. You're making me homesick. Doesn't matter. All true. Particularly the part with the grapes and feathers. That's true. Just go ask the Inquisitor this one. Yes. It wasn't rare, and it certainly wasn't well done. I was in a catatonic trance, fueled by the stench of disgusting dwarven ale. Maybe you'll change that. In the future, one will hear dwarf and think Messiah. Down with stereotypes. We've never talked about my family before. They're not happy with my choices, you see. Nor I theirs. Stay inside this circle. The rift will only open for a second, and if you're not close enough... I have only one question, Sarah. Did you cut your own hair? I had no idea nugs possessed such creepy little feet. The stuff of nightmares. Vivian, perhaps you can answer this. Why the bizarre Orlesian fixation with masks? Watch where you're pointing that thing. We don't have Dalish clans coming northward. For obvious reasons. That too. Oh, for the love of... No one's dead. Alexius used time magic. I must be. Or you wouldn't have been thinking about it all this time. I drew you a diagram. Isn't that enough? You know, Varric, I went to Kirkwall once. There is that. So I've never met one of your people before, although I've heard about them. A little.
I didn't ask what you thought, did I?
The spell Alexius cast displaced us in time. We just got here, so to speak.
Vishantikafas, I meant your weapon.
You could try using something other than a rusty butter knife. A strange custom in a culture where people assassinate each other for putting too much salt in the soup. You caught the eye of a young woman in that last village, Blackwall. I hope this won't be an issue between us. I am here to help you deal with the Venatori, after all.
That was unworthy, I apologize.
We didn't escape. Alexius sent us into the future. Look at this profile. Isn't it incredible? I picture it in marble. Good. Because the thought of you trying that frightens me more than a little. Bit of a shithole.
Why is it always so cold? How do you Southerners stand it?
More than it's already been. What with ancient magisters running about? Not at all.
There'd be no harm in hearing what this man of my father's has to say. If I don't like it, however, I want to leave.
We get to Alexius, and I just might be able to send us back to our own time. Simple, really.
Tell me, Cassandra, did your family throw suitors at you?
Cole, the wooden duck I found on my bed, was that you? Scissors. The word you're looking for is scissors, and you people call Tevinter barbaric. You're right. She was undoubtedly looking at me. No need whatsoever.
Only that they're trying to choke me.
You're no more dead than we are. Varric, you've seen this red lyrium before, yes?
My footsies are freezing, thank you.
Excellent. Mutual appreciation is a grand way to begin.
So am I. But who knows? Maybe my father has something new in mind.
No trick, I'm afraid. Alexius accidentally sent us through time. You've killed lots of my countrymen, I take it.
I must admit I never tried that. I mean, did you put it there?
Where do you get all your arrows, Sarah? You have hundreds. What I wouldn't give for some proper wine. With proper hygiene and grooming. Maybe all three of you should get acquainted. I meant, you must have been part of the Circle of Magi in the south.
If it's a trap, we should spring it. Else they'll find another way. One less obvious.
Our only hope is to find the amulet that Alexius used to send us here. Do you know if a mage could access its power? Meaning, you were locked away like a criminal, at least until you rebelled. It's such a bizarre notion to me.
And if it's not, well, I'll admit to a little morbid curiosity. Lead me there or not. It's up to you.
If it still exists, I can use it to reopen the rift at the exact spot we left. Maybe.
What?
Never just for fun.
Cassandra, my mother has a friend who's a Pentagast. Perhaps you know of him.
Cole, do you hear magic? My arse should open up a shop. It's apparently quite prolific. Perhaps he found a bargain he couldn't pass up on vats of vinegar. When did I do that?
Death, starvation, being hunted by rabid mobs?
Yes, I can imagine. I wonder how much my father paid this man to wait around just in case I showed. I said, maybe. It might also turn us into paste. I can't figure you out, Sarah. Some would say Tevinter is hardly better, depending on which mage you ask. Still, it's so utterly foreign. We'll find out soon enough. You aren't curious how we got here?
Enormously fat man. 3 chins, 4 mansions, 5 ways to sell you out, as Mother liked to say.
Spells sometimes make a sound, but I don't think we hear the same thing. Care to play another game of cards when we get back to Skyhold Varric? Egad, we'd be forced to retaliate. That does sound like me. I believe this is a moment where we stand in mutual recognition of mankind's folly. Don't mind me. Let's see what comes of this. Alexius sent us into the future. This, his victory, his elder one, it was never meant to be. You just picked up a bow one day and poof, expert marksman. A veritable savant. How is it, Vivienne, that you weren't part of the rebellion with the rest of the Southern mages?
I'm not wearing a skirt.
A lack of civilized entertainment, clearly. I've been to your Southern taverns. It's dangerous and unpredictable. Before the breach, nothing we did. Not lately. Now, nobody ever died from those. Lately, stranger things have happened. It would take work. It's more surprising that everyone would take the idea of a mage inquisitor so calmly. They haven't noticed us yet. Good opportunity to look for higher ground. So they're the chargers and you're the bull. That's clever. A savant. A natural, meaning you needed no training. Nothing like solidarity. And soap. Lots and lots of soap. Maybe it's not calm. Maybe the Antivan crows are swimming in gold from all the contracts on your life. They're right there. Perhaps we should try to find another way in. And if I don't? Do you have tiny enforcers come strip me of my holdings? Good luck with that, by the way. Grand fun being the one in charge.
Get that enchanter!
I'll keep that in mind. Oh, not first cousins or anything like that. Can you imagine? Sorry for interrupting your dinner. The dwarf plays dirty. All right, you win. This time. I saw him once at a ball, but we never met. He had to leave early on account of assassination. That I'd like to see. You're a Trevelyan, however, and somewhere in the dank nethers of my family tree, there was also a Trevelyan. Me? Are you referring to... So these books you write, Varric, who actually reads them? You do. You really do. Perhaps he was even the one who ventured to Ostwick to establish the branch. We are talking long ago, of course. Kill him? No. He killed a magister. Could have waited until the dancing was finished. Bloodlines are serious business in Tevinter. You're taught lessons and tested by strict nannies. That's a lot of people. Do the southern masses even know how to read? I left all that behind, although I do miss the gold shitting from time to time. I heard your family mentioned, and I had to go through all the old mnemonics, but yes, there it is. I knew there was a reason we looked so much alike.
Video by Selfie Gaming. Subscribe, like, and follow.
It all seems ghoulish. Let Morrigan use it, if she wants it so much. I don't want to risk losing you to a well. How has such magic lasted? Festis by Umo Carnarvorum. If you don't come through this, I swear I'll kill you. There. Our intrepid leader's coming round. Not dead. Well, that's a relief. So, good? Bad? I'm dying to know. Even saying that back home would give Mother the vapors. The way you talk about magic. You've never been on good terms with a mage? I think I'm drying out from the inside, which makes an excellent reason to say it. Black sheep have all the fun. At least Corypheus's followers are suffering with us. You're a Trevelyan, however, and somewhere in dank nethers of my family tree, there was also a Trevelyan. How ominous. Has my father finally come up with a decent offer to buy me from you? Us? Don't be silly. I'm told you're involved with someone else. I see. Do they know that? Better. Do you know what your southern circle's like? If you wish to talk about us, then talk to them first. Ensure there are no misunderstandings. Less cautious? Not this far south. You're sadly right. I see. What's the latest news on the us front, then? How dreadful. Back to being fantastic all on my own. What, you mean like mendicant? Ultimatum? As I said before, talk to Cullen first. It's quite simple. Now there's a turn-up phrase. Talk to Cassandra first. There's no way I'm crossing paths with that woman. Vishanta Kafas. It's Tavine, relics of the old tongue. We still use the colourful phrases. Talk to Josephine first. She's a sweet girl. I shouldn't like her eyeballing me every time I cross the courtyard. Could at least bring me wine. Loosens the tongue, so to speak. Literally, you shit on my tongue. About how much you adore me, I assume? I hear that so often. Oh. I am, as you say down south, all ears. A mystery for the ages. Just talk? Such a pity. Of course it can't. The Herald of Andraste carrying on with a Tevinter mage. Preposterous. How is a Tevinter supposed to laugh exactly? You must be joking. I didn't doubt it for a moment. Too bad. I was hoping for a lively Winterfest gift. I could rend my garments, muss up my hair. No, I wouldn't touch my hair. Let's not get carried away. Oh, no. You're not allowed to laugh like that until you get your Magister license. I could make it difficult, but why? You have better things to worry about. Truth be told, we're probably not suited to each other. Which is sad, but there it is. Just remember, I'll still be watching you. From behind, where the view is best. Such is my way. As long as you're careful where you shoot all those arrows. I won't lie. It could have been something. But we have to be realistic, yes? If you'll excuse me, a bottle calls. Orlesian brandy is so cheap here, it's criminal. Now we can live together in peace and harmony. So we shall. It was interesting while it lasted. That's just her favourite. You have but to ask. Amatus. Lead the way. I need to talk to you, he says. I couldn't finish the last one you lent me. I actually feel dumber for having tried. I'm not even going to pretend to know what you mean. Have it your way. But let's go where 100 onlookers won't think I'm stealing the Inquisitor's soul. More interesting than wandering the countryside killing random strangers? Perish the thought. Does that noise ever stop? But if you insist, a game of Wicked Grace will have to do. Time to take all your coin. It'll have to be brandy, won't it? Little early, but that's never stopped me before. Persistence is its own reward. That's a Tevinter proverb. This castle of yours isn't exactly filled with diversions, but we can figure something out. Thank you. That makes so much more sense now. Come, we'll wander the grounds and I'll bore you with ribald tales of Tevinter intrigue. Come, we'll watch your soldiers bash each other with sticks while I critique their uniforms. Getting ahead of yourself, aren't you? I have a list. Let me find it. Sad we aren't in Minrathous. I could show you 100 ways to shame your ancestors. But we'll make do. But we could find Cassandra and pretend we're talking about her. It would drive her mad. Ah, yes. After. Dreadful thing, after. Let's see. Assuming one or both of us aren't slaughtered along the way, what do you wish to happen? We could go our separate ways if you prefer. I've been a port in a storm before. I would understand. You're the Inquisitor. You're the one with responsibilities. I am but an adornment upon your arm. You're very sentimental for someone who's killed as many people as you have. Sweet maker, next you'll be making calf eyes at puppies. That's not all I am, but I'm not the great holy hope of Southern Thedas. You joke. One day they'll write books about you, boring ones that will get it all wrong. Just watch. I'll stop mentioning it as soon as I stop hearing it. The Inquisitor is wearing the serious hat today, I see. I don't know what the future holds, for us or anything. That's my honest answer. Once Corypheus is defeated, when this is over, I'd like to talk about it more, if you would. Loads of trouble. Indeed. You're the Inquisitor Amatus, King of the world. I am pleased with whatever time I can have while I can. One of those days, is it? Visit Tevinter one day. Minrathous will put your southern cities in perspective. Why? I have to be fond of you to agree with what you're doing. I do think you blunder about, Inquisitor, thrashing like a caged dragon at everything that displeases you. It's not the only one. I still believe Corypheus needs to be stopped, and that I need to be here to help stop him. I'm just whimsical that way. Of course there's a reason. If you'd let me, yes. I have every reason to put my life on the line here, at the moment. That could change. You must be imagining. Well, now I smell it. Corypheus was a magister. He represents everything dark and terrible in my country. I have to help. Even if it means I stand on the sidelines watching, I'll do it. I need to know he's defeated. If that's meaningless to you, then tell me to go and I will. Right. I can't say I'm surprised. Give Corypheus my regards. I'm sure he'll be a handful for you. Excellent. Then let's not belabor it further. The Ferelden Heartland. It's a brave new world, Dorian Parvis. Beyond my being a mage from Tevinter, you mean? Does the cold not bother any of you, truly? And beyond my being so charming and well-dressed, which is obvious to anyone. Odd that the Fereldans would invite the rebel mages into their country. They had to know it would bring the fighting here. It's true. I could be more modest, but I'd be lying. The Mage Rebellion has turned this place upside down, hasn't it? Some people have superior taste. I camped in these hills for 2 weeks when I got here. Me. Camping. Of course I believe you. The moment I saw you, I thought, there's a man who knows quality. Of course you are. You're a discerning and intelligent woman, after all. Now, what was I talking about? Ah, yes. Me. I am the scion of House Parvis, a product of generations of careful breeding and the repository of its hopes and dreams. Naturally, I despised it all. The lies, the scheming, the illusions of supremacy. That's Tevinter in a nutshell, isn't it? Needless to say, my family was not happy with my choices. The great families of Tevinter don't have children. They refine traits, weed out the undesirable, and promote the rest. My mother was chosen for my father because magic runs strongly in her blood. Never mind that they loathed each other. They wanted a son who could become Archon to make House Parvis the envy of the Imperium. They got me. A cautionary tale that you should be careful what you wish for, because I rejected their idyllic plan. If they had their way, by now I'd be married to some unlucky girl from a powerful family. We'd live in luxurious despair, despising each other as I waited to take my father's place in the magisterium. I declined the honor, and thus it's best I'm far from home. Less of an embarrassment that way, you see. On the contrary, I care for my homeland a great deal. There's so much potential. Sadly, we squander it. We refuse to acknowledge how far we've fallen because pretending is easier. We pretend the Canary can be beaten. We pretend that we're superior to everyone, even our own people. Not everyone feels that way. I don't. Sadly, we're the minority. It might sound that way. For all our faults, my people have many virtues. We are laden with history and culture. Tevinter is where Thedas truly began, remember? We treasure our past and preserve it. You can walk down a side street and find nothing built during the modern ages. And despite appearances, we care. Deeply, about everything. We have no reserve, not in war and not in love. If I truly believed my homeland was beyond all hope, I wouldn't miss it so much. I read somewhere you can sink into sand. Just whoop, down you go. I'm not exactly welcome back home. In ancient Tevinter, they called this place Vina Herdalis. It means the downy hairs upon your arse. Not that it matters. I'm quite accustomed to being a pariah. It adds to my charm. Do they have sandworms here? Giant sandworms? No? I can do more for Tevinter here. If the Venatori succeed, it'll set my homeland back 1,000 years. I'm sure some magisters would disagree. But that's why we kill them. That's too bad. I never tire of talking about myself. Ah, yes, everyone outside the Imperium always seems quite fascinated by it. Probably why they come up with so many ridiculous tales. Flying cows over Minrathous. It's madness. All right, that one's actually true, but the cows didn't have wings. I digress. Anything in particular you wanted to know? Popular topic. Anything specific? He was my patron, sponsoring me to the higher levels of the Circle of Magi. In return, my successes were his. True, but look around. It couldn't mean something much better. I had a lot of successes, naturally. Alexius was most pleased. Someone who liked staring at arses. You know how magisters are. He and I used to talk over brandy about the corruption, how we could one day make real change in the Imperium. And then he gave up. He stopped trying. On a journey to Hosburg, a Darkspawn raid killed his wife and sickened his son. I remember hearing the news. He hadn't been there, you see. Alexius was convinced he could have protected them. And the guilt tore him up. I helped him with his research for a while, and then we drifted apart. Finally, some humidity. Back then, I was furious. Bloody waking sea. Never been more sick than when I crossed that. I told him to snap out of it, move on. I thought I had all the answers. Footing's rather slick around here. Later, I regretted my hasty words. But we didn't speak again until he approached me for the Venatori. The Storm Coast? You Southerners think of cheery names for these places, don't you? Too much pride, I suppose. Plus, I was busy drinking. One must have priorities. It was hard not having a patron, yes. I'm not exactly built to fit in. Clever you. I had a choice, you see. Wallow in self-pity or get away while I could. It's true. What was I thinking? It's so cold down here. At any rate, he's fallen so low, I doubt he'll ever get up. Sad, really. At any rate, he's dead now. More's the pity. Looking up an old mentor of mine, a magister by the name of Alexius. Good fellow. Always thought highly of him. Then one day, he asks me to join the Venatori. I don't know what he was thinking. He knew I wanted to change Tevinter, not regress it into prehistoric madness. The Venatori killed Alexius once he stopped being useful. That's what I thought. I'd hoped to persuade him to leave Redcliffe. I suppose he had his reasons. People will do odd things when they're strung over a barrel. Either that, or I didn't really know Alexius at all. How did you hear that? Oh, Liliana. Of course she would find out. Don't make an issue of it. I don't want someone solving my personal problems for me. Of course, it might have been the bottle of grappa I was nursing. The sea and I don't mix well. I'll get the amulet back. Somehow. On my own. The Parvus birthright. The flashy thing you show peons to make them tremble at your impressive lineage. Can't see very far with all this bloody mist. I didn't leave Tevinter with much in the way of coin. So I sold it. Entirely forbidden, of course, and foolish, but I was desperate. I'll figure something out. Because it's mine, and it shouldn't be passed around like candy. It's reason enough. Leave it be. It's not the only thing that's important. What am I, some brigand-thumping merchants when they displease me? I lost the amulet. I may not have your resources, but I can't ask you to... So, this is the heart of mighty Orlais. You have too many people asking you for everything under the sun. I won't be one of them. At least we're in a city. I'm tempted to find a tavern. Perhaps all of them. I saw him before they locked him up. He looked despondent, broken. Not the man I remember, nor the one I want to. So many masks. What a bizarre custom. A letter? Is it a naughty letter? A humorous proposal from some Antivan dowager? It's not as austere as Tevinter cities. Not nearly as many dragon statues. My father. I see. And what does Magister Hallward want, pray tell? We need to find some proper wine while we're here. I'm rather desperate. So long as you promise to return. Come back tonight, then. I do rather like watching you leave. Here I thought we were just getting to the good part. Try not to die. I would notice you were gone. Try not to kill anyone without me. You and I. People will talk. All right. We'll see how this goes. Don't say I didn't warn you. You know he died, I assume. Got us as far as the camp, and then... that was it. I imagine being attacked by something undeniably evil changes one's perspective a bit. I helped him walk. He talked about you quite a bit. He just needed to be sure you were Andraste's chosen. He was terrified of what it meant, if it were true. But in the end, he believed. He asked me to tell you he was sorry. Sometimes you discover things where you least expect. I thought it was important. Even the best of us have been guilty of that, no? Such garish colours. And where are the ruins? Minrathous is full of ruins. You inspire faith, Inquisitor. Even if you don't mean to. Anyway, we can talk about something else if you'd rather. As dawn breaks, bare your chest. 9 seconds of that cold sun will tease the petals to the colour of love's first blush. Right. You want the lover's red. Nestle a Feltamont rose to your heart and take it to the west peak of Mount Azazet. No. Complete nonsense. As is trying to please that imp with any material gift. As I said before, talk to Iron Bull. I'm not crossing horns with him, so this is where the Second Blight began. 700 years later, and it still hasn't recovered. If only there were a single discrete bone in that lummox. They say the abyssal rift goes all the way down to the deep roads. I wouldn't want anyone to know about this. Just like I wouldn't want anyone to know I fancy Ferelden beer. The wind is a bit sandy, isn't it? I wouldn't want to deprive you of that pleasure, would I? They say the Silent Plains are corrupted like this. Never been. I wouldn't concern yourself, Inquisitor. It's a dalliance, nothing more. I thought deserts were supposed to be hot. At first, it was an ill-considered night after drinking. Then there was a second time. And then, I don't know what's going on, to be honest. I suspect neither does the bull. Now that I've said it out loud, my ancestors are officially turning over in their graves. Ah, well. Strange? Why are you less qualified to rule than some tart with a fancy crown? I find it strange that your mages don't rule anything at all. Actually, the fiction in the Imperium is that mages don't rule. The Magisterium rules. That magisters are all mages is considered a convenient technicality. The upper house of the Imperial Senate, and the only part worth having a seat on. Those seats are split among the circles of Magi, the Chantry, and the major families. All mages now. It's odd that outside the Imperium, you use Magister like it applies to every Tevinter mage. I'm an Altus, which is almost as good as a Magister, depending on who you ask. Upper class. Those families who trace descent from the Dreamers, the first prophets of the old gods. If you're a mage and you're not Altus, then you're Leitan. Lower class. If you're not a mage at all, you're Soperati. That's everyone else. We do love our fancy words. Well, yes. Technically, he can overrule laws passed by the Magisterium, but that never happens. Even so, he gets to appoint new magisters, which means all the families vie madly for his favor. Thus, the Archon gets invited to all the parties. The truest path to Tevinter influence, let me tell you. Yes and no. Let me put it this way. Mages do rule, but not all mages are equal. Strange luck, really. There are parts of the Imperium that still haven't recovered.
If you're not from the right family, chances are you don't rule anything. Maybe you're even a slave.
I'm tempted to throw something down there to test it out.
The idea that anyone could be a mage, however, keeps the masses placated. Technically, the potential runs mostly in bloodlines, but it's been known to happen. More importantly, commoners believe it can. Tevinter legend is chock full of mage heroes from humble origins, so they hold out hope. Someday my son or my son's son will be a mage. Someday. Poor sods don't realize that means he'll be a quaestor at the arse end of the 100 Pillars, at best.
Counting numbers and shuffling papers all day is better than many occupations after all. If you're a second-class citizen among a pack of piranha, however, your outlook changes.
You people aren't supposed to talk about the Black Divine, are you? If you mention him outside the Imperium, people make that face, like you're urinating in public. But yes, we do have the Chantry, or a version of it. Night and day comparing it to yours. Not in theory. The main difference is in the whole magic is meant to serve man, not rule over him business. Back home, ruling the unwashed masses is serving them, for the good of the Imperium. Perhaps it started with good intentions, but these days it's academic. The circles are in command. We have Templars as well, but they don't cancel spells or whatever your Templars do. They're soldiers. We don't have dismal little mage prisons, if that's what you mean. They're academies, prestigious ones. They watch for abuse of magic, yes, but only those who are weak or who fall out of favor get dealt with. Mostly they enforce the magisterium's edicts. The Chantry smiles and nods from the sidelines. In the Imperium, he's the true divine. The woman sitting on the sunburst throne is some backwater pretender.
I suppose the ancients weren't all that clever.
It all stems from a disagreement over Andraste. Marvelous, isn't it? It's not my field of expertise, but the Imperium believes Andraste was a mortal woman, a mage. Down south they say, no, she's the bride of the Maker, ascended to his side, divine provenance, a blah blah blah. We feel better believing Andraste was one of us. Makes executing her less damning, you see. So we elected a man as divine, the South declared war, and we've been feuding cousins ever since. Don't think there aren't a number of female magisters who bristle at that. Why can't they be divine after all? Same reason you never see a man on the sunburst throne. Because that's how it's always been done. Excellent reasoning. It might surprise you that I do consider myself Andrastian. I simply do not believe in the Chantry. It is a relic, whether back home or here in the South. Something from a bygone age desperately clinging to relevance. It's not an opinion that makes me popular. That's not surprising, considering what the Inquisition represents.
You did ask, if you'll recall.
I'll say this. I may not believe in the Chantry, but I believe in you. That the Maker sent you, whether through Andraste or fate. Cassandra is not wrong. You saw that in the future, without you, Corypheus prevails. You are our bulwark against evil.
You are what we needed most at the moment we needed it. That's what they will say in ages to come.
If you define religious as sitting in a chantry and listening to a blithering hen tell you how to live, then no. If you define it as believing in the possibility that something larger than yourself exists, then yes, by all means.
Doubt is good. I like doubt. It will keep you sane. My, someone's full of themselves, aren't they? Don't agree on my account. A little doubt wouldn't harm the Herald of Andraste. Me? I've seen too much to believe I know everything.
The world is bigger than I. Even bigger than you. It laughs at all the things we think we know. The Maker doesn't need me to believe. But I do. The thought of no one at all watching out for us is too frightening. So many questions. Secretly, many magisters will rejoice at the idea. And if the South falls to chaos in the meantime, all the better. They won't, of course. At least, not officially. They'll disavow all knowledge of dangerous cultists. I think the Imperium gave up on the idea of allies a long time ago. We've been fighting the Qunari for what, 200 years off and on? It's a point of pride that we go it alone. They'll sneer at the South behind their silk handkerchiefs and say, "You've had it easy for far too long." Let's not forget that the Inquisition seems to be an arm of the Orlesian Chantry. Anathema so far as they're concerned. You think that matters? Don't be silly. The Herald of Andraste. Your very title smacks of the Southern Chantry. You may as well be a heathen. I think they're far more frightened what you'll do if you succeed.
Of course, what people call blood magic here and what we consider blood magic are two different things. The problem is that what's permitted only gets you so much power. And what if you need more? You always need more. That's where we get into sacrifices and demon summoning. None of that is done. Not officially. Behind closed doors, it's a different story. Real blood magic can give you an edge, a leg up against your opponents. It's safe to assume that any mage of rank does it. The rest are quietly shut out of power, to put it bluntly. Nowadays, only the friendless are accused. Most of them probably innocent. Once, their investigations might have been sincere. Then their balls were cut off. Too inconvenient. Occasionally, there'll be a magister who makes noise, and then the reform talk begins. All very patriotic. Meanwhile, that magister will be quietly shunned. Chances are, surprise, it's learned he was a Maleficar all along. Most learn to keep quiet. Me? I enjoy the allure of pariahhood. Not personally, but my family does and treats them well. Honestly, I never thought much about it until I came south. Back home, it's how it is. Slaves are everywhere. You don't question it. I'm not even certain many slaves do. I didn't say they like it. It's all most of them know. In the south, you have alienages, slums, both human and elven. The desperate have no way out. Back home, a poor man can sell himself. As a slave, he could have a position of respect, comfort, and could even support a family. Some slaves are treated poorly, it's true. But do you honestly think inescapable poverty is better? You think people choose to be poor and oppressed? I doubt it. Abuse, heaped upon those without power, isn't limited to Tevinter, my friend. But I suspect you don't know either. Nor should you believe that every tale of Tevinter excess is the norm. I don't know what it's like to be a slave, true. I never thought about it until I saw how different it was here. Yes, but that was a different time. The Imperium's power was at its peak then. The Civil War had ended. The Magisterium was united, its armies scooping up bits of Thedas like candy. The Magisters who entered the Black City. It was a demonstration of how exceptional Tevinter had become. No one knows. There's no record of a Magister named Corypheus. All this happened 1400 years ago, before the Blight nearly wiped us out. There are no records. Today, people half believe it's all just a story. That's what I believed, but not who Corypheus is. If he even remembers. There used to be families who claimed some of those magisters as their own. That stopped when the Chantry appeared. Then it was shameful, and the families distanced themselves from the tale. All we know is that some men and women entered the Black City looking for the old gods. What did they find? According to Corypheus, nothing. And only he could tell us more. Indeed, someone's been doing some training. As an assassin, no less. A problem. I kill more enemies before breakfast than most people do their entire lives. Part of being in the Inquisition, I expect. We can rend our garments over the morality of it later. I don't see why not. Is that worse than coin from looting the people you kill? I should say, with the amount of killing you do, a bit of flair's a fine thing. You have a lot of enemies. No need to split hairs. Are you joking? I'm only surprised you didn't kill someone walking over here. At any rate, if you ever intend to make it an actual profession, do tell me. The Antivan Crows have nothing on the Imperium. I know people. Keep it in mind. I must admit, I've never been able to understand Southern Templars. Back home, a Templar shows up and all you think is, oh dear, which Magister did I cross this time? Here, it's quite different. You're not thinking of actually joining their order, are you? How should I know? You drink the lyrium, it addles your brain. Suddenly you're wearing a tunic and scowling at mages. Useful against mages. Speaking as a mage, it's a little disconcerting. You'll need to scowl at mages more. I understand it's a requirement. Are you aware you smell different? No one's mentioned it. Lyrium has a particular smell, like the air after a lightning strike. It's incredibly attractive. Good job on that. Not that I go about smelling you. I'm just saying. So, Alexius is dead. All the good he once stood for, his integrity, his beliefs. He betrayed them all. I won't say he didn't deserve death. I just wish there'd been another way. I'm told you have Alexius researching magic for you. Research is always what made him happiest. Perhaps I'll even go talk to him eventually. One word of advice. If he suggests altering time as a way to solve all your problems, give it a pass. You made Alexius tranquil. I wish you'd just killed him. He was a decent man once. He deserved to keep his dignity. I hope I don't run into him. That would be more than I could handle. I ran into Fiona. Seems you have Alexius serving the mages. There's some justice in that after what he did to them. Maybe one day he'll realize it. They tell me you sent Alexius back into the prisons. Seems a waste to rot away in a cell like that. He was a good man once. Maybe it will give him time to think. But with Felix gone, I doubt it. I realize it's now your job to judge him. All I ask is, if you do, show him mercy. I suppose the Inquisition will judge him eventually. I wonder if there's any chance they'll show him mercy. He hardly deserves it, but for Felix's sake. I can't help hoping there's something left of the man I once knew. Although you might try the shaving thing. It's no less foolish. Sarah does seem the kind to have that effect. Another time, Inquisitor. Good luck, Inquisitor. It's not a hunt I'd bet on. And such a promising start with the landslide. If only trebuchets remained an option. Well, that's not acceptable. I didn't race here only to have you drop rocks on my head. Dying is typically a last resort, not first. For a Templar, you think like a blood mage. A brave man. He stood against a Venatori. There was no bargaining with the mages either. This Elder One takes what it wants. From what I gathered in Redcliffe, it marched all of this way to take your herald. An assassin might take you up on that, but this force has not seemed concerned about specifics. Besides taking the Templars, I've no idea what would incur this much wrath. Trust me, that is not information I would keep to myself. You have been his target since you took the Templars. So long as you're here, the rest may be beneath his notice. I'd feel badly for the fellow if he wasn't a toad. This is where the retainer is supposed to be. We here for a drink? Not that I mind, really. It just seems an odd stop. Typical drama. Come to Skyhold. No, don't be silly. I know my son. What my father knows of me would barely fill a thimble. This is so typical. I'm willing to bet this retainer is a henchman, hired to knock me on the head and drag me back to Tevinter. Perhaps. Although this does look like my father's penmanship. Or could he have joined the Venatori? No, that can't. Well, anything is possible. He expects me to travel with Mother Giselle, although Maker knows why he'd think I would. Brilliant, isn't it? One moment you're trying to restore order in a world gone mad. That should be enough for anyone to handle, yes? Then, out of nowhere, an archdemon appears and kicks you in the head. What? You thought this would be easy? No, I was just hoping you wouldn't crush our village like an anthill. Sorry about that. Archdemons like to crush, you know. Can't be helped. Am I speaking too quickly for you? I'm not rattled. I'm the hero of this tale. Good point. Does that make me a lackey? That's dangerous work. Certainly. If you were a slack-jawed yokel, you'd already be dead. If I did that, we'd be here all day. You've clearly never been to the Magisterium's archive. That silence will eat you alive. Distracted. By my wit and charm, I have plenty of both. I'm a man of many talents. What can I say? I am here on approval. I'll do my best to be brilliant under scrutiny. I suppose a proper introduction is called for, now that we're not running for our lives. Dorian of House Parvis, most recently of the Tevinter Imperium. I was at Redcliffe when the Venatori assumed command of your southern mages. I only wish I could have given more warning. I know it's all the same to southerners, but no, I'm not. All members of the Magisterium, and thus all magisters, are mages. But not all mages are part of the Magisterium. Not to imply I'm just any mage, of course, but let's not start with incorrect assumptions. The Venatori are fools, so desperate to restore the Imperium's glory days they'd sacrifice our nation's soul. They made an offer to your mage rebels to join forces, but I'd bet they didn't leave the outcome to chance. The result is the army you saw at Haven. This Elder One has more magic than you can shake a stick at, for all the good it did. I had an image in my head of rushing in, saving the day. Only technically. The Imperium they serve no longer exists. The danger's not exactly done yet, is it? It was, wasn't it? Throwing in my lot with the underdogs. That's me. I always assumed the Elder One behind the Venatori was a Magister. But this is something else completely. In Tevinter, they say the Chantry's tales of Magisters starting the Blight are just that. Tales. But here we are. One of those very Magisters. A dark spawn. You know how it is. Not us. They say dark spawn were always there. Magisters and the Blight aren't even related. Is that a surprise? No one wants to admit they shit the bed. But if Corypheus is one of the Magisters who entered the Black City and he's Darkspawn, what other explanation is there? Because the Imperium is my home. True, he might be a convincing liar, or delusional, or insane. But how many delusional maniacs are going to have that knowledge? He broke open the Fade. The Imperium is a land of lies built upon secrets, built upon falsehoods. I knew what I was taught couldn't be the whole truth, but I assumed there had to be a kernel of it. Somewhere, but no. It was us all along. We destroyed the world. True, except that one of them is up and walking around right now. Not to mention I have idiot countrymen who would happily follow him down that path again. Not for lack of trying. If they were more clever, they'd have unleashed something that would really do the job. I could head south, try to stop the Venatori myself, spread a warning when they march. I know. Maybe I'll personally go south and stop Alexius before his plan succeeds. Wait! I already did that! I have no intention of letting Corypheus win. Not without someone from Tevinter standing against him. It would have been nice if you'd helped stop Alexius. But that's not how things went. So be it. If it's all the same to you, I'd like to stay and help the Inquisition. Southerners like to think of the Imperium as nothing but slavers and cultists. Why not? That's all you see. But it's not true. Some Tevinters are not only handsome and well-dressed, but rather put off by all that rot. So I'll happily kill cultists or anyone who thinks a Darkspawn god is the way of the future. Rather elaborate, considering they'd need to have assumed you'd escape Haven. But I am the ideal spy. Charming, clever, perfect teeth and hair. It all fits. How about this? Let me help, and you can hang me later, if you wish. I look good in rope. Have it your way, friend. Good luck in your inquisiting and such. No one will thank me whatever happens. No one will thank you either. You know that, yes? An optimist! Such a rare breed. I've stumbled upon a unicorn. They didn't kick me out? Well, only because they never got around to it. Eventually, they might have. I knew there was something clever about you. All I know is this. Corypheus needs to be stopped. Men like him ruined my homeland. I won't stand by and let him ruin the world. Oh, and congratulations on that whole leading the Inquisition thing, by the way. I'm here to warn you. Fashionably late, I'm afraid. Might exhausted. Don't mind me. There's no time. Not after what happened to the mages at Redcliffe. My name is Dorian Parvis, and I'm afraid there's no time. The mage rebels from Redcliffe are coming. You could say that. The mage rebels from Redcliffe are behind me, an entire army. There you are. I came to tell you what happened with the mages at Redcliffe. You're not going to like it. My name is Dorian Parvis, and I bring grave news from Redcliffe. An army of rebel mages right behind me. They are under the command of the Venatori, in service to something called the Elder One. They are under the command of Tevinter cultists, the Venatori, in service to something named the Elder One. Then you know. It's as I suspected. Both sides in the war were influenced. The mage rebels marched not because you sided with the Templars, but because you stole them. From that. The woman is Calpurnia. She commands the Venatori. For that, the Elder One. It's some kind of Darkspawn. Powerful. That's all I know. They were already marching on Haven. I risked my life to get here first. If someone could open this, I'd appreciate it. Varric, there's really no need. It's true. I couldn't stay away from Tevinter forever. I'm leaving as soon as the Exalted Council is done. It's true. When the Exalted Council has ended, I'm going back to Tevinter. For good, this time. I haven't seen him since Redcliffe. I had no idea he would keep me as his heir, or why. We only met a few times while I was home. He didn't say anything about keeping me as his heir. I received notice this morning. A perversely cheerful letter congratulating me on assuming his seat in the magisterium. I have to go back. I didn't even see him when I was home. I had no idea he would leave me everything. This ambassadorship, his doing, I'm told. He must have wanted me away when the trouble began. I don't want to leave, Amatus. I was going to tell you. Not like this. The party was Varric's idea. I didn't want you to find out like this. Frankly, I've been dreading this conversation, but Here it is. My father is dead. Assassinated, I believe. This ambassadorship was his doing. Whether to support me or his legacy, I'll never know. Not this time, Amatus. They're most likely the same people, so that should make the job easier. Not this time, my friend. We'll be an actual faction in the Magisterium. I'll teach them manners, take them shopping. It'll be fun. It can't happen, of course. A Canary cannot simply walk around the Imperium, even in a Magister's company. I won't be entirely without support. Mayveris has gathered other Magisters who feel as we do. I find my father's killers and kill them back. Then I find those giving Tevinter a bad name and kill them. Oh, yes. I can't wait to degrade the Magisterium with my presence. A new outfit is required. I don't want him hurt. He doesn't want me hurt. We're working it out. Give up a golden opportunity for martyrdom? Perish the thought. Nonsense. There will always be an us. We'll just be farther apart for a time. Now, don't pout. They'll put that expression on a statue, and then you'll be sorry. A present. A going-away present. Nothing about this is funny. I am sorry, for what it's worth. Oh, I'll need it, thank you. Magisters are tricksy bastards. Now let's finish the good wine before the others get back. You are the man I love, Amatus. Nothing will truly keep us apart. You are my dearest friend. Perhaps my only friend. That will never change, no matter where we are. What? You didn't think I would just leave and you'd never hear from me again, did you? It's a sending crystal. Amazing what friendship with the Inquisition gives you access to. If I get in over my head, or you're overwhelmed with sorrow for lack of my velvety voice. Magic. Thank you. It still doesn't feel real. Always wonderful to see you, Amatus. Greetings again, Inquisitor. Good to see you, my friend. I can't believe it's been so long. I'm moving up in the world, Tevinter Ambassador. Fancy. I'll wager you never thought to see me again, The South is still a freezing shithole, I see. A married woman. My, isn't that something? Maybe a sea voyage. I could get captured by burly Canary pirates. That would be fun. Sad that it doesn't come with a stipend, or at least a decorative pin. A little bit, he says. I'll show you a little bit. Just you wait. That could have been all the wine. Only thing back home I really missed. This time of year, it'll be difficult to find a caravan to go all the way back home. Such a soft heart for an Inquisitor. I should call Sarah Mrs. Inquisitor from now on. Maybe teach her to crochet. She'll love that. Too long, Amatus. Did you miss me? That's it? 2 years? Sweet merciful maker, it felt like 10. What? So you could hide away your new lovers? Perish the thought. I went home. Twice. Father was only there once. Mother was drunk both times. I'll tell you what I didn't do. See Father even once. Mother tracked me down once, which was nice. I also went to Carinus to see my good friend Mayveris. Then I settled some of Alexis's affairs. That wasn't fun. I believe my father set it up, but the Imperium certainly didn't object. From the paintings of Liliana in that enormous robe, you'd think she was pregnant. Could cause a delicious scandal. As for this whole exalted council business, well... Quiet, you! He'll overhear. And then where will I be? Honestly, I thought things would have cooled by now. He's a persistent bastard. You tell me. I didn't ask for it. One day I was minding my business in the capital, the next. Here I am. Whether they have the guts to take action, I suppose we'll see. No? If Dread Tevinter actually pushed for the Inquisition's end, everyone else would disagree on principle. For such a great beast, he's a terrible sap. I want to talk about my feelings, Dorian. Ugh. They'd love for the Inquisition to fall apart, so they're happy if it seems they consider this council a waste of time. I warned you once that no one would thank you for saving the world. Sadly, I'm always right, so they send a nobody pariah and hope for the best. Makes perfect sense to me. He's happy I've returned, if that's what you mean. Nearly crushed 3 of my ribs with that ridiculous hug. Who can say? I was informed of my status by letter, not even offered a choice. Rather rude, actually. Vivienne always loved her ludicrous hats, but even she can't pull off that chantry monstrosity. Cassandra in a flowy dress just seems wrong. And that hat does her no favors. So long as the Inquisition's around to remind them they're not really in charge, they'll never sleep comfortably. A few, Divine Victoria needs a new tailor for one. Quite the party, wasn't it? I hear it left the Orlesians and Fereldans completely aghast. Andraste's herald, the Inquisitor, toasting a Tevinter Magister. Not a bad scandal to leave on. Funny how things work out. I was passing through the hall this morning and a serving girl saw me and squealed. Actually squealed, dropped her laundry and everything. Such a mess. She was completely breathless. "You were at the battle with the evil one, weren't you?" I didn't even get a chance to answer. She hugged me. Hugged me. "This is your influence." I do remember. I didn't think it would mean people touching me. Is that so? Must be why it's so unfamiliar. You, they'll remember. Me? One day I'll be that piece of minutia they use to trip up aspiring historians. I don't trust camaraderie, all these people smiling, buying me drinks. It's unnatural. Mind you, I can't say I hate the notion of being the good Tevinter. I suppose you can't all be evil bastards. The blacksmith said that, and he spat when we first met. I hope my father hears. He will shit his small clothes from shock, I swear. I fully expected to die. It would have been thematically appropriate. And you could have been a martyr. Oh, the songs they would have composed. For Southerners, maybe. Back home, they'll be rolling their eyes behind their fans. Meanwhile, they'll conveniently forget the bastards who wanted Corypheus ruling us all. This from the man with whom I spend my nights. Such elaborate praise. So you should. Being appreciated is a nice change of pace, though. I do. I'm just glad I managed to survive. Rather unexpected, all things considered. I'm also pleased to come out of it alive. I wasn't expecting that, didn't you? The hero dies in all the best stories. Anything else just sounds so implausible. Soon. For the moment, there's too many interesting things here just to up and go. No, actually. I was thinking of sticking around for a while. I know you'd rather I left. I will eventually. For now, I'm rather enjoying the South. Tevinter lacks the presence of my best and only friend. It'll keep. There's no you in Tevinter. What else matters? Absolutely. There's too much fun to be had. And really, what would you do without me? Plus, there's you. It'll be hard enough to leave, but I certainly won't until I'm through with you. Plus, what would you do without me? Such as my best and only friend. My homeland calls, but I'm not ready to leave just yet. Oh, please. We both know that won't happen. Yes, but they won't have the same gravitas. We'll just have to be satisfied with being alive. And together. Clever. See? I keep your wits sharp. I've decided to return to Tevinter. Perhaps not right away. Too many interesting things here. I've decided to stay with the Inquisition. For now. Don't worry. I'll be out of your hair soon enough. As I recall, we left a conversation hanging. I'd hate to leave before we finished it. It might. You know how it is. Are you sassing me, Commander? I didn't know you had it in you. Leaving, are you? Does this mean I win? You need to come to terms with my inevitable victory. You'll feel much better. You need to come to terms with my inevitable victory. You'll feel much better. Don't get smug. There will be no living with you. I'm always nice. Well, well. Her Imperial Majesty has a fondness for elven keepsakes, I see. There is so much conniving and backstabbing here. Makes me homesick. Death by Apple Pie, a lovely poem by our dear friend Cole. Sarah, what are you wearing? Are you sure it's dead? Blackwall. You look very dignified. Consider a scarf next time, a bit of colour. A human from Tevinter scoops up the last bits of elven knowledge? I'm thinking trap. Yes, definitely. Is it the elves watching us, or the Venatori? I'll admit the idea of fighting the last of their kind does not thrill me. Hold on. Corypheus mentioned a Well of Sorrows. I thought he was here for an alluvion. Just a thought. Maybe rushing through this place like a mad bull isn't the best plan. One stayed behind. Our guide, I suppose. He said the elves destroyed themselves before my countrymen came along. How many centuries have they guarded this place? Only to be gutted for no good reason. The Imperium went to great lengths to expunge elven history. You might be the last to know the truth. I know why you ask. I know it's important, but I can't be that man.